Hey, what's guys? Welcome back to my channel. What's up, me? And yeah, so today we're gonna be talking about the Ukraine being invaded by Russia. There is a lot of things to talk about. I missed out a lot in YouTube. I did talk about all these things in TikTok, so watch my TikTok. I'm actually uploading shit. So yeah, Russia invaded the Ukraine. Why? It's a really long story, but to just simplify everything, the Ukraine has, a good history with Russia. It was a part of Russia, but then it separated, and Russia wants it back. And also because the Ukraine is going to join NATO, and Russia's afraid that, with them joining NATO, that means the NATO army is going to be closer to Russia. So Russia doesn't want that. So I guess Putin was like, fuck it, I'll just start a war. And just so no more, NATO nukes are closer to the border. There are many videos in YouTube right now that could explain better than me, but that's the gist. So right now, there's still a war. They're still fighting. And it seems like the Ukraine is doing a pretty good job in fighting back the Russians. Now, my biggest fear is that, alright, they're doing a great job for now. We gotta remember, Russia is, I think, the third most powerful military in the world. So, maybe right now they're going soft. I think probably, the first wave of the armies are from the separatists. These are people, I think they're forcing children to fight. So, what type of quality soldiers are they going to put out? So, it's probably, most of these soldiers that are dying right now is from that region. But, that's probably, Putin's probably thinking like, all right, let me just soften them up. And then, I'll bring in, the real guns. But even the Russian soldiers, there's reports saying that, like, the Russian soldiers, their morale is pretty low. I've heard that, they didn't even know they were going to invade the Ukraine. They thought it was like a military drill. They didn't think we're going to kill people. So yeah, it's pretty terrible. Russia, I focus on other countries and see what's happening there and understand, okay, they're trying to do this, they're trying to push this type of propaganda. But Russia, I don't know, like I haven't really focused on them, or they haven't made it too loud. But, I haven't really heard them push, propaganda to be like, oh, we gotta invade the Ukraine. I don't know. I haven't heard nothing about that. I've heard recently, after they invaded, that they were pushing this narrative like, oh, the Ukraine, they got like Nazi soldiers. That is true. That the U.S. is funding the Nazi soldier, some type of Nazi militant. That is true, and we should stop. I think we did. Not sure if we're still funding it. Probably we are. We're shitty like that. But I don't think the Ukraine is really hiring them. It's just the U.S. that was keeping them existing. Not really sure. All right, you can call me ignorant on this part. I understand. But Russia was pushing that type of narrative, like saying that shit, and then out of nowhere, all right, we're just gonna invade. It's like, wait, what? At least, and there's a lot of people comparing what the U.S. did with the war in Iraq, It's like, for all the people that has been saying that, you're actually right. That's a pretty fair comparison. We did the same exact thing what Russia did with the Ukraine, but at least we were lied to. At least, they said, oh, they did the tower. They blew up the towers. They have weapons of mass destruction. They could potentially nuke us. And now those same people that was pushing that propaganda, they're telling us, yeah, we should fight the Russians, Like, here's the thing, all right? I wish we can help the Ukraine, but our help is very limited because Russia is threatening everybody. If anybody militarily, helps Russia, we're just going to nuke you. So, these people are telling us, yeah, we should risk the potential of getting nuked because I don't care. Because I'm being paid to say this by Boeing and Lockheed Martin. Now, I still don't think we should get involved. We should help them as much as we can. But I don't think we should have like boots in the ground. I don't think that's really necessary. There's a bunch of NATO countries that could help. Like we don't have to be involved everywhere. But if somehow we do, then yeah, we do. Like I don't know. I don't know what the fuck is Russia gonna do. I mean, shit. There's a potential we might get involved because China is threatening to invade Taiwan right now because everybody's busy doing shit. And they're thinking, oh, we maybe we can get away with this shit. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. We might end up having troops in the Ukraine and at the same time Taiwan too. I don't know. So I've heard that many countries are applying to join NATO because of this situation. Yeah, because there's always a fear of Russia, invading one of these countries that is close to them, and it's just like, all right. When are they going to do it? And now that it actually happened with the Ukraine, they're thinking, wow, we are not prepared to fight Russia. And or it's like we don't really want to fight Russia. So we're just going to join NATO because, Russia is afraid of the US. The Ukraine, there was a lot of talks that the Ukraine is going to join NATO, but then Russia was like, "Oh, fuck that. I'll invade you right now." Before you join NATO, So Russia invading the Ukraine, all it did is just made NATO way more appealing to a lot of other countries. So let's talk about the Russian people, because, everybody's always talking about, the Ukrainians. And obviously, yeah, this is fucking sad. This is awful, whatever is happening. And there's a lot of reports. I will discuss that maybe a little later, but let's talk about the Russian people and in their opinions. Now, obviously, they didn't want this war. They didn't want this to happen, but Putin doesn't represent his own people. He's basically a dictator. Like, I think he made himself basically president for as long as he wants. So yeah, he's obviously not in power because people voted him to be there. I think there was an election, but it was obviously rigged. So yeah, with all these sanctions that Russia has been receiving, I've seen a video called No Fuckers. I think that's what his name. Fuck, I might have fucked it up. But yeah, I used to watch his channel a lot before. He was like one of those commentary channels like Leafy's here. But he was like that type of channel. But then it transformed into just talking about Russia. Like his politics about it, and he made videos talking about his experience there, and he's saying that. Yeah, we're fucked. Like, every business is leaving there. IKEA, YouTube, well, I'm not sure YouTube, Patreon, PayPal, Apple, what's it called, Google. Like, everybody's leaving there. So now, the Russian people is like, well, fuck, what can we use? And also, the ruble is down, so their money is just useless. And also... whatever money that the Russians have, that dollars or any other foreign currency, they have to give it to their government, and in exchange they'll give them the equivalent of how much rubles, whatever currency it costs right now, which is basically I think it's just equivalent of monopoly money. So yeah, the economy there is fucked, and the people there. They are kind of fucked. I don't know what the fuck Putin is gonna do for all the people there. Like what? Like, oh, you guys got no jobs? All the factories and all the companies left our country? Huh. I mean, we are enlisting. So I do feel bad for the Russians that live in Russia and don't want this war, and now they're facing an economic crisis in their country. And yeah, I do feel bad for the regular Russians. And the Ukrainians, alright? I'm not saying, who the true victims in this war? The regular Russian. No, I'm not saying that, alright? Calm down. But, yeah, I do feel bad for the regular Russians because they didn't ask for this. And, they didn't even vote for Putin to be in power. And even if they did vote for Putin, a leader could just do something, out of nowhere with the people not wanting it. I mean, look at America. Like, we've been in so many wars right now. It's hard to count. And I bet a lot of Americans don't want to be in these wars. But at least in some of these wars, we were lied to. Like, oh, these are the guys that got the weapons of mass destruction. Oh, these are the guys who did 9/11. But even if we were lied to, it was still ignorant and bad of us to invade a sovereign country. So yeah, overall, it sucks to be a Russian, and now they're doing lines again. A lot of you Russians didn't experience that probably in years. So there's some nostalgia. So let's talk about the racism in this war. Oh man. So earlier I made a comparison with America invading the Middle Eastern countries, and I said that us invading the Middle East is as bad as Russia invading the Ukraine. Some people would argue saying, no, this is different because, America was invading a non-civilized country. What? It sounds like he's justifying saying, oh no, it's okay because they're brown and stupid. That's okay, because, it doesn't matter, because they're darker than us. And a lot of people were comparing, so a lot of countries, they're opening their borders and giving out visas to Ukrainians trying to leave the Ukraine. And, people notice, a lot of countries are just, opening their countries to all these Ukrainian refugees. But they didn't have the same energy with these refugees from the Middle East. Now, I would counter that, the Middle East and European countries, they act way differently. Now, I'm not saying, it's a good reason. European countries, like, all right, we get the laws and all that shit. But, like, you got to remember, the Middle East is different by every way. The laws, the culture, the religion, so getting people from another country that is different by every way and then putting them in another country that is different by every way, it's going to get some people thinking, should we allow these people to come? But overall, it's like, yeah, you should allow these people to come in. And I understand the context that, most of these countries that people are criticizing are are countries that are close borders to the Middle East. The first countries that will face the immigration problems. But they turn around and say, yeah, we should let these people in because they look like us. That's what every news anchorage in Europe is saying. They're moralizing these refugees that are coming from the Ukraine, like, oh, these people look like us. They got blue eyes and blonde hair. They watch Netflix. They watch the new, like, all this shit. They're moralizing them, and guess what? That's okay. But where were you when the same thing was happening to these people in the Middle East? It's racism without even realizing what they're saying is racist. They're not allowing them in because they look different. They act different. They don't see them as equal. They don't see them as people that are trying to flee from a war. The same thing as the Ukrainians. It's fucking horrible. It's horrible. And it's like, these are people too. I don't get it. And don't let me getting started with the black Ukrainians that can't leave, and they're also being treated like shit. Now, I'm not gonna make it seem like, these Ukrainians represent all Ukrainians. No, that would be idiotic of me. But I don't get why, they're treating them like shit. Like, they're going through the same thing as you are. And I think it's because, a war's happening, and it probably triggered some people in their monkey brains to, pull up, we're tribalist mode, all right? Like, it's me versus the people that don't look like me, all right? It's my tribe versus their tribe. And I guess, skin color is one of them. Now, I think, no, not really, but I think maybe a little bit, we've evolved as human beings to be more sincere and more kinder to each other, I think. But with this war happening, now we're going back to our tribalist, minds, It's now, anything Russian is bad. Ooh, like a lot of people are doing stuff that isn't really necessary. Like they assume, I gotta do this because it's my patriotic duty. Examples like a lot of alcohol businesses are throwing away their vodkas, and it's not like specifically vodkas that are made in no, just vodkas overall. But it's like, vodka is a type of drink. It's basically like a category. So like, throwing out just saying vodka is like, all right, there's vodkas that are made in Europe or in the USA. It's just like dumbass Americans, they correlate, it's vodka is a well-known drink from Russia. All right, let's just throw it out. It's like, Mexican tacos, they're the same. It's like, no, this is a Chipotle, or this is a Taco Bell. It's like, no, this is an American company making Mexican food. And then there's Disney Plus removing Anastasia from the service. Now, it's only banned in the USA, but you could watch it if you're from another country. But why in the USA? This is what, we're going back to the Cold War, where it's like, the Ruskies, the Russians, they're bad, and like, let's make cartoon shows where we make them look like villains and shit. Anastasia, it's a story where they just straight up ignore the USSR, taking over and killing the Tsar family. So it has no way of being related to modern Russia right now. It's just another story of, monarchy, it's so nice and beautiful. This is stupid, but yeah, it's got nothing to do with, Russia or Russia right now. This is like years. This is like when kings and shit was ruling that country. So yeah, it's like we're going back to, back in the 80s, 70s, and 60s, during the Cold War, where, it's the US versus Russia. No, it's everybody versus Putin. Like, the Russian people has got nothing to do with, this war. Like, they didn't want this shit. And first off, I think there's a forced draft. So, like, even the soldiers that are in those war, they most likely didn't want to be there. So yeah, it's shitty on both sides. The Russians, they didn't want this. And the Ukrainians damn well did not want this either. But yeah, that's what's happening. There's probably even more I can't discuss. Shit. There's the sanctions, I understand why we did this, but I don't think it's really gonna work. It's damaging the Russian economy right now, but just in a few years, maybe they'll find another way to, counter all that. But yeah, it's like, I think a lot of countries, they think, this is gonna work. This is gonna stop Putin. It's like, no. Like, you think, the people are gonna start a revolution and try to overtake Putin? Putin's been in power for more than 20 years. You think he's scared of his own people? Like, he did this shit knowing, people aren't gonna like what I'm doing, but I don't care. So that's all I gotta say. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me, Twitch, and Twitter. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And see you, bye.